All right, moving on to the rewards you get by bonding LP tokens. So, liquidity provision tokens, what do you have to do for that? Essentially, you first have to add liquidity to the USDC DSD pair on Uniswap. You get these LP tokens in return, and with those LP tokens, you go to liquidity, you stage them, so you basically deposit them on the platform, and then you bond them. So far, so good. It's pretty straightforward. Now, again, I'll remind you that 40% of the newly minted supply of DSD will go to the liquidity pool. So 40% of this newly minted supply goes to the liquidity pool. And currently, there's way less tokens in the liquidity pool than are bonded in the DAO. So naturally, the liquidity pool returns are currently higher than the bonded DSD. So that's one thing, and that's just the current situation. That can obviously change, but usually it's the case that liquidity rewards are higher. Now, there's an advantage to this also because let's say the lockup or the way these liquidity rewards work is actually a bit more advantageous than bonding to the DAO because you only have a 12 epoch lockup. So essentially, the way the timeline goes, just so you understand, is let's say you bond your LP tokens in Epoch 0, right? And you start earning those rewards. Your status will be fluid, so you can't do anything in this scenario. I mean, you can unbond your liquidity pool tokens, but you can't withdraw them from the actual app for 12 epochs currently. Now, if you keep your liquidity pool tokens there, bonded, then in 12 epochs you become frozen. And in these epochs you will earn rewards. And the rewards will appear here. So you'll see the number grow here. These are your rewards. Now, in order to make the rewards claimable, so in order to move the rewards, let's say I have 1000 DSD here, in order to move it from here to here, you need to unbond your liquidity tokens. So what you do is you first unbond and the rewards will become claimable. But you can only claim the rewards when you're frozen. So that means you have to wait another 12 epochs to actually be able to claim the reward. So I didn't write it here, but basically epoch 24 is when you can actually withdraw the rewards to your wallet. Now, what you can do and what most people do is they unbond after 12 epochs, their rewards become claimable, and then they bond right back the LP tokens so that they can continue earning rewards. What's important to note is that a disadvantage of providing liquidity versus the bonding DAO tokens is that you don't have the compounding returns. So using the same example, obviously the rewards percentage is not 10% as I have it here. It's much more right now, but if we assume the same percentage reward, which is 10% for the bonded DAO tokens and for the bonded LP, you see we actually add 10% here on each DSD. So after 12 epochs, we end with a 2.1x in this particular example, whereas with the bonded DAO tokens, it's much more, and it continues to compound at a faster rate. So if I actually drag this one down here, I actually get to 3.3x, whereas after 2 days, this one is much, much more. So you can actually, you actually get much more rewards by bonding DAO tokens. But in the next few videos, I'll show you a way to actually, or the two ways to actually compound your LP tokens as well. One last thing that is important to note is that especially if you're providing liquidity at prices like these, remember DSD is supposed to be valued at 1 because you're providing 50% DSD and 50% USDC, so you need a matching USDC amount in that liquidity pool. If you're providing liquidity at these prices, then you're going to be subject to impermanent loss. If you don't know what impermanent loss is, read about it. I'm not going to describe it now, but just so you know, if the price goes from $5 to $1, which we fully expect it to do, then you're looking at a impermanent loss of 25%. So the total value that you put into that pool, it will be worth 25% less by the time you pull that liquidity out. Obviously, what you're betting on here is that the rewards you get from the liquidity pool offset the loss that you gain from pulling down your liquidity with the price of the asset going down.